Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. How y'all doing? Well, it's me, Green again. Yeah, I'm here to recommend some movies for you people. Yeah, you know what I mean? Gotta recommend the movies. Gotta do that. That's all I'm here for. Cause I'm not here to do anything else but recommend the movies for you. You know. But hey, what's going on? I mean, like, hello, everyone. Yep, that's what I mean. I'm just saying, I'm here to. I'm just saying, I'm I'm just here to recommend movies to you guys. If you've ever seen Avatar: Fire and Ice, if you've never seen it, go check it out. I mean, it comes on Disney Plus on the 24th of this month, so you may want to check it out. Yeah, you may want to check it out. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna certainly check it out. I'm gonna certainly check it out because you know I like the movies. Yeah, and by the way, yeah, when you check the movie out, take note of the effects and whatnot. Okay? Yeah, because I the effects in this one might be better than the first one. You never know. I mean, it's always a toss up when you're watching movies, when you're recommending movies. So you may want to check it out. Hey, I would, but that's like totally up to you. But I would. I'd check it out and I'd give it a look. See, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look. I'm gonna check it out. I mean, some my friend says it's entertaining. He recommended the movie to me, and you know what? I'm recommending the movie to you because you know what? Me being a science fiction fan myself, liking the science fiction genre, and that being from the science fiction genre, you know, I like the movie not because of science fiction, but it gives you a look into another side of the science fiction. More closer to Earth. Kind of like an earthy feel to it. You never know. You never know what you may like until you try. But all I'm saying is though, it's on Disney Plus 24. Check it out. You know, and another movie I might recommend to you. It's an oldie but a goodie, right? Um, I know you probably seen it already. You know, but I would recommend the first live action Transformers movie. No matter how many times you see it, it's a good movie. It's a great movie. I mean, they have Peter Cullen voicing the character of Optimus Prime, and that's pretty good. I mean, hey, you couldn't get you couldn't get a most noteworthy performance from the guy. I mean, he's the original voice actor of the character in the cartoon. He's also noted for doing the voice of Venger on the Dungeons and Dragons animation series. They used to come on channel 10 or 3. Well, yeah, and you can find Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube. The Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. I mean, he does the voice of Venger. You may want to check it out. I mean, it it's a great cartoon. I liked it first because mainly because of Venger. the voice of Benjer. He has this cool, evil, modulated voice, that makes you think, damn, this guy is really evil, But you gotta like the guy. You got to like him because no matter how evil he is, his motives are always good. You know, he may want to kill the kids for their weapons, but you know, it's always a purpose behind everything he does. You know, hey, what's going on? DD Phantom Protectors, what's going on, my man? How you doing? Big shout out to DD Phantom Protectors. Yo, what's going on? Everything is good, my man. Everything is good. I'm just recommending some movies to my people. My people. Yeah, I'm great. How about you? I'm great. I'm great, dude. I'm great. I'm more than great. You know, I'm great because I just feel great. I just feel happy. Happy because the day is great. Everything's going fine. You know, so everything is good for me. I'm just happy. That's all to it, man. I'm always happy. But I'm gonna tell you though, man. Things in our chat group, man. Things in our group haven't been going so good. But that's a thing for another time. But what's on the light side is, I'm recommending certain movies for people. You know, oldie but a goodie. I know it's a cartoon for kids, but it's an oldie but a goodie. Um, I would watch if I was going on YouTube. I would watch the cartoon called The Last Unicorn. It's an old cartoon, and it has the voice. Uh, One of the voice actors is the fourth Doctor of Doctor Who, Tom Baker, and he does the voice of the Wizard. You may know him from the Seven Voyages of Sinbad, where he voices the evil Jinn. You may know him from The Hobbit, when he voices the older Bilbo Baggins. I mean, he has so many credits to his name, it's not funny. I mean, you might even know him from Warriors of the Wind when he voices the wizard in the Flying Castle. I mean, that's cool. But his noteworthy performance is the fourth Doctor of the Doctor Who series, made in Britain. The first Doctor Who came out in 1920. Yeah, starring William Hartnell. Um, Later on, carried on by his twin brother Richard Hartnell, who played the Doctor in 19 what is it? 1980, 1979, 1980. Yeah, he played the Doctor because his brother passed away, and what it is by them being twins, he was able to come into the role and play the Doctor as his brother did. Most people don't know, but in the first season of Doctor Who, in the first episode, um, William Hartnell was the first actual Doctor that stood in the control room of the TARDIS. You never seen the control room of the TARDIS until the very first season, the very first episode of Doctor Who, which is The Unearthly Child, starring William Hartnell, and Caroline Ford. But all I'm saying is it's a noteworthy performance. You may want to check it out. Doctor Who is currently being aired on Tubi. You can watch Doctors 1 through 7. And all I'm saying is Doctor Who is worth the watch. I mean, I grew up watching Doctor Who. That's how I got into science fiction. Doctor Who was the very reason that I got interested in science. I mean, the first science experiment I ever did was a botany experiment we did in elementary school where we had to grow potatoes. Yeah, we actually had to grow potatoes and other stuff. So basically, you know, check it out. You may like it. And other other shows of that genre. I mean, if you like science fiction like I do, you may want to check out. It's a show on there called The Tomorrow People. You know, The Tomorrow People. It's like another version of X Men, but it's like with an adult teenager type of theme. You may want to check it out. It's more suspenseful than X Men because the story has so many twists and turns. But all I'm saying is you may want to check it out. It's on Tubi. It's called The Tomorrow People. You know, give it a look, see how you like it. And just give it a look, see how you like it. That's all I can tell you. I'm not going to spoil the surprise by telling you the premise behind it. But give it a look, see. It's about certain people who are born with certain abilities. Like they were born with certain genetic advantages. I'll call it like that. And you know, and the government put forth this agency to hunt them down. If they couldn't be recruited, for the agency, they had to be killed or neutralized in some fashion. The government in this movie developed a vaccine to give the Tomorrow People to suppress their powers. Like kind of take them away, as to speak. But here's the thing: the main guy, um, the main guy, his name is Steven, right? He he took it. His father, who was an agent for the government, he took it and he developed a formula, a cure for the anti mutant strain. And what he did was he gave it. What he did was he hid the cure within the sanctuary of the Tomorrow People. But it's up to them to find it before the government hunts them down, and neutralizes them all. But as the story goes on, there are more and more Tomorrow People surfacing, you know, during the show. You got some people who are able to teleport. You got one guy who's able to teleport and stop time. You got another guy bullets are able to bounce off his body. You got another guy with super speed. He runs so fast he can run through solid objects. I mean, it's like a version of X Men. So you may wanna check it out. I mean, I did, and I liked it. I mean, they got so many shows like that on Tubi. One of the shows I like watching is about a secret organization called Orchestra. Which the government did have a similar organization back in the 1950s, early 60s. Yeah, where they would take young people, recruit the young people out of the armed services, right? And they would test them and see if they had any kind of psychic ability or esper ability, like precognition, remote monitoring capabilities, and such. You know, and you never know. But Orchestra reminded me of that program. It's called a sleeper. It's called a sleeper program, where you take people and you test them to see what kind of esper ability that they might have that may be useful to the government. Like the main person was this woman, right? What's her name? Her name was her last name was Adam. Her first name was Nina. Her last name Adams, and she was able to manipulate matter, you know, and she was able to literally stop an oncoming nuclear warhead with just a thought, you know, and cause it to like kind of wink out of existence. You know, she manipulated the energy around it and caused it to implode upon itself, you know, before it could destroy anything. Right? But during that she gave birth she ended up going into labor and giving birth to a little girl named Bo. Bo, like her mother, was able to manipulate matter, you know, through telekinesis. You know, she was able to manifest different powers, like telekinesis. She could knock you across the room with a thought and stuff like that. She was able to. She was able to redirect energy. Like you can shoot a column of flame at her, and with her sheer willpower, she was able to grab the flame with the power of her mind and throw it back at you. You know, I mean, one episode I was watching, she actually this was in New York City. She actually the federal government was chasing her and her dad, and she actually picked up a taxi cab that they got out of with her mind and threw it at the federal agents. Like literally threw it at them. And by the time the cab hit the ground, her and her father was already gone. He had already run off. I mean, these guys have been chased all through the picture by the federal government and orchestra. But the laughable part about it is the federal government doesn't know that it's being used by orchestra to hunt down this little girl so that the main guy of orchestra can control her powers. Because if he can make the little girl strong enough, you know, build her up to be as strong as her mother or even stronger, he can he can become a world power unto his own self. You know, and that's the premise behind that. That's like another version of X-Men, like an alternative version. That would be X-Men if there were no Professor Xavier or no Wolverine or no Jean Grey that do the morality thing, you know, to keep everything in check. You know, but that's the premise behind that. So if you want to check out these shows, you know, check out Tubi. Check out Tubi. But if you want to check out Avatar, Fire and Water, then you check out Disney Plus. You know, that's if you got it. But all I'm saying is, you know, all I'm saying is, you know, when you're watching these movies, when you're watching these movies and TV shows that I'm recommending, have a good time. You know, watch it with your, you know, your family member. You know, you can discuss it with your friends. Or, you know, if they're into science fiction. You know, you can watch it with your family members and stuff. You know, I don't think so. But meanwhile, back to subject at hand. You know, because we're gonna stay on topic. We're gonna stay on topic. You know, all I'm saying is, when you check out these shows, have an open mind about it. You know, because these shows are great. I mean, I watch them. I check them out. You know, and I think they're good shows, and I don't care. And actually, um, when you watch the shows, just have a great time with it. Just have a great time, do your thing, watch the shows. Don't read too much into it, or you'll never enjoy it. Just kind of look at it as though you were a comic book or something. Think about it. What if I could do that? Or, what if I knew somebody that could do that? Or what if I could make a show like that? You know, think like that. I mean, that's how I think about it. So in retrospect, give shows a look, see what you like, and just generally, if you like them, keep watching. You may find something, that you like, or you may find something that, you may enjoy. So just don't even think about the ramifications of it. Just watch it and enjoy. It's not hard. You know, the world is dark enough, and all we need is a little enjoyment. You know, so basically, just don't read too much into it. You'll enjoy it. It all depends. You know, um, that's generally it. But if you have any questions about the shows, I mean, I can answer them. Best of my abilities, I can answer them, and you know, and such. But it's all up to you. Yeah, it's all up to you. I'm not going to pay any attention to this guy. Yeah, sometimes it's best not to pay attention to them when they come on. Just ban them. But seriously, folks, if you want to, if you want to just watch a good show and you want to have a great time at it, just kind of watch the show, have a great time. You don't have to read too much into it. I mean, hey, just watch the show and know that you don't have to you don't have to do anything. Just watch it and hey. But seriously, it just is. You never know. So it's been 23 minutes, to the mark. So I'm gonna jump off here and leave you to that. But I want you guys to have a great time watching shows. You know, um, yeah, have a great time watching shows, and just have a great summer. Okay. I wish you all the best, and you know, just just stay cool. You know, stay cool, and just do constructive things, not destructive things. You know, have a safe summer. You know, if you have to use fireworks, be safe about it, and please, 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 please. Um, if you have to use fireworks, use them in open areas like a park. Open areas like a park. Never around housing or apartments or anything like that. Okay? Always do that. And never use them around children, animals, or or such. Be safe. Have a great summer, and just have a great time. Other than that, yeah. But still, just have a great time. And still, God bless. And need I remind you, no weapon brought against me shall prosper. Yeah, that's in the Bible. So, peace out, y'all.